Good evening, guys. Welcome to the last part of this section 1 in our PHP programming, which is forms with file creation. In tutorial 8, we saw how to handle forms with file submission, how to submit a file over the network, how to limit the file size, how to check if the file exists, and so on. So there are different things you could do on file, limit a particular file type, and so on. So you could read that all by yourself. Well, today we are going to be talking about forms with file creation. When we talk about forms with file creation, it's like simply getting form data and then creating a file, with the required form data. So here we are going to create our file, forms with file creation. Okay, so we are going to use the same stuff in simple forms so as not to write it all over again. So we're going to use this one on simple forms. Forms with file creation. So we're still going to use the same stuff and then write it inside a file. So we already saw this one, my simple form. We'll just change it to forms with file creation. Now the idea here is when you collect user data and then you want to save it in a file for further process, you can decide to save it to a database. You can decide to send the file to an email, process it. But in this particular tutorial, we want to show you how to save a particular data, or how to save data gotten from a form in a particular file. The first thing you have to know is that the file needs to be created. This is where we find ourselves. We want to save the data inside a file called file.txt or myfile.txt. So the first thing we need to do is to simply create the file. So the first thing we need to do is, first of all, create the file. That thing was this. Okay. Creating the file to save the form inside. So in order to create the file, we can just create a variable. Let's say my file is equal to fopen. There's a variable, there's a function here called fopen. We simply create a file with a specific name that we've called. Let's say we can call it, since it's a string, we can call it my data. So let's execute. Remember, this is a folder, is still empty. Let's execute this script and see. Expect at least 2 parameters, one given. Okay. It did not create it because you see the error shows here that it expects 2 parameters, one given. Now, whenever you create a file, there's a second parameter. Okay, see, require parameter. Now the parameter should be, what do you want to do? You want to read the file, you want to write, you want to read, cross, and so on. But here we want to write in the file. So remember, this our folder is still empty, and then we refresh. We expect our file to be created. So this is a file, my data. I just have to specify it should be my data.txt. So let's launch it again. This is my data.txt. This is a file that has been created. Now we launch the file again as to verify my data.txt. But each time we execute it, it has to create the same file. So we can just simply verify if the file exists. Remember, in the previous tutorial, we said we can verify if a file exists by using this function. If the file exists, or we should say, if not file exists, if the file does not exist, then it should create it. So we just verify if the file does not exist, it should create it. So see, at this point, we have deleted the file, and then we refresh our page. The file now exists. I just enter an information Z. Let's see if it's going to create it, because if it creates it, it's going to delete the file or the information inside. So we run. You see that the Z is inside, so the file has not been tampered with. So at this point, it just permits to execute this code once to create the file once. So we verify if the file already exists, it should. If the file does not exist, it should create it such that you can then therefore use it and then input information. Now we simply want to get the user's name, email, sex, and age range, and then save it inside that file. Now we've opened the file, we've created the file, so we find ourselves now at this point. We've already gotten the data. Remember, it's the old form we got from the previous tutorial, the last two tutorials. So the next thing we have to do now is we simply want to save that information inside a text file. So this is what we do. We come now. We've already defined our name variable, our email variable, our sex variable, and our age range variable. So in order to write into that file, okay, let me comment this one. In order to write into that file, there's a function in PHP called the fwrite. Use the fwrite when you want to write an information to the file. Now, what is the file you want to write an information to? It should be my file. That's the variable you're using, which is my file. Now, we want to write information to my file. What information do you want to write? We want to write name inside my file. We'll write name inside my file. Now let's try. It has not yet created a file. We try this information. We want to enter Paul, and then we submit. Undefined variable. Okay, let's come back. Okay, let me check something. Undefined age range on line 12. Age range on line 12, it means we do not select any age range. That's the first error. Undefined variable my file on line 14. Okay, my file on line 14. Okay, we first of all have to open this file now, because here is just simply like creating the file. The next thing we have to do is simply, since we've already created a file, it's like opening the file. We have to open the file to my file, and then we try again. So it's this one is a row. Once enter Paul, let's just enter this information, and then we submit the information. We come inside here and then we check. That's the name Paul. Paul has been saved inside my file. We enter a different name, pool 50. We submit. Pool 50 has been saved inside my file. Okay, now let's come. We've already saved this name inside my file. I think it's name. Let me see something. Okay, let's say we want to save the name, we want to save the person's email now. Want to save the sex. Want to save the age. So I want to save all of this inside that my file. So let's launch our form. Ng at Gmail. G is a female, 50 to 40, and then we save. Now let's open that file and check. Okay, Ng. Okay, it was like showing that BR. I wanted it to come to a new line. Okay, let's try something else. Okay, let me see. We're trying something, I don't know. Bingo. Oof, it's worse than I thought. Anyway, let me try it. Okay, let me see something new. I don't know if this will work. I'm just trying an error. I want everything to come down to a new line. Never tried this before. Ish. Anyway, the idea is that I wanted all the information to be displayed like this. Yeah, I wanted the information to be displayed like this inside the file, but that one is just like word formatting or formatting the document. Yeah, but this is the idea already, saving information into a file, where in order to save information into the file, you first of all have to make sure the file, if the file does not exist, you create a file using this mode parameter, that's the file name, and the mode parameter write to write in the file, and then after verifying if the form has been submitted, you simply use the fwrite, the file name and the data you want to write, the fwrite, the file name and the data, and so on. Then when you finish, you put the fclose, and then my file, you close my file, because once you open the file, you need to close the file back. And you're handling it. Sorry, it's not easy. Okay, so very simple, right? Pretty simple. So that's all about file creation and form management with file creation. You can still decide to compress the information to a zip file and so on. It all depends on you. It depends on you. So thank you much. That marks the end of the first section of this introduction. So please, I'll really urge you guys to do this project 1, these 3 exercises under project 1. Ask your questions, because I really have to be sure that you people have understood project 1 very well before we can even start this section 2 of advanced PHP, before moving up to section 3, PHP and database using the PHP data objects, PDO, and then getting now into PHP object-oriented programming concepts. So you people really need to understand these things before we get to something really serious. So we are going to end here for now until the next part is understood. So this marks the end of our first part. Thank you.